everyone. Good morning and welcome to Morning Verses with Mike. Thank you for getting up and joining me this morning. I'm going to click over here to get things rolling as we get a few live folks here. Hope your day has started off absolutely fantastic. I know mine is. Just a couple quick reminders. I do this every weekday morning at 6:15 a.m. and I would love to have you come on over here and join me. So what I do is I get up and I share normally a single verse, sometimes two or three, depending on how it hits me, but a verse from the Bible. I share primarily from the New Living Translation of Every Man's Bible because it is a study Bible. To me, is a little easier to read and cruise along with, and there's some really good additional study notes. So this morning, I am going to be sharing Psalm 16, verse 8. If you do me a favor, if you have a verse that is impacting you in your life, if it's speaking to you right now, just share that in the sidebar. I would love to carry on a conversation with you. I would love to maybe use that as a future verse and such. Also, couple quick announcements this morning. If you're in automotive especially, we have some really cool things that I think are coming up, and God is moving in the automotive industry. So the first one, let me put on the screen here, is spearheaded by Brian and Carrie Pash. It's coming up. It's called On Map, On Mission, and that is coming up January 25th. It's going to happen during NADA. I think that's I'll have to look. I'll double check the date, but I think that's Friday night. But it's happening during the NADA conference, and they're hosting just a night of faith and a night for people to come together in the automotive industry and during this conference, offering an alternative to the just going out and partying type of deal. So that's happening in San Francisco on January 25th. The second thing that is coming up, and actually this is coming up before, I didn't think beforehand, so these aren't necessarily in order. Second thing that's coming up is the Christian Auto Conference, which is hosted by Jonathan Dawson, and that's happening in Atlanta, Georgia. That goes on November 11th through 13th. So, like I said, God is moving in some really awesome ways within the automotive industry. So if you're in automotive, I would encourage you to make sure and check out either of those websites. You can see this one here at christianautoconference.com. That goes on November 11th through 13th. And then also, as I mentioned before, onmaponmission.org. That goes on during NADA January 25th. So I would encourage you, if you're automotive, check both of those out because God is moving. So getting into this morning's verse, I'm going to be sharing Psalm 16, verse 8. Now, Psalms I really like the book of Psalms because it is a book of songs and celebration, and it's a huge opportunity for us celebrating the Lord. And I thought that would tie in with talking about these automotive Christian events coming up. It says right here, what is the point of Psalms? So this is why I like it's got the extra little notes here. What is the point of Psalms? God deserves our greatest passion, right? God deserves our greatest passion. And so I think it sums that up really well. So Psalm 16, verse 8 says, I know the Lord is always with me. I will not be shaken, for he is right beside me. There is a continual presence of God in our lives. He is always working with us, through us, around us. There is that continual presence. Even if sometimes we don't feel him, he's there, right? There are times we think, well, maybe, gosh, I can't see God right now because all of these things are coming at me, but he is there. That's the part where it says he's right beside you. Right? He's right beside you and I right now. He is constant. I spoke about fear yesterday in my show, The Front, and how fear is not real. We allow our imaginations to run wild with fear, but it is only in our imagination. And dependent on what you focus on, you can be focused on the fear and those things that come at you in your daily life and questioning and the what ifs and those things, or you can be focused on God, the Almighty, the presence of light and goodness and strength, right? So whatever you focus on, I've said this one before too, you get more of. So when you stay rooted in your faith and in God, in that presence of God, then it'll wipe all the fear and the frustration and all of those things, easily wipe them away. Good morning, Anthony. I see you there. Hey, good morning, Matt. How you doing, man? Hope both of you guys are doing good this morning. I saw a couple people hop in one of the channels live. Reminder, I do this live from my personal page. I also do this live from a couple morning verses with Mike pages. I've got one on Facebook and then on YouTube. So wherever you're watching, if you're watching live or if you're watching later, thank you. I appreciate you. And good morning to you, a couple of guys that are popping in. So as I was saying, if you stay focused on God, you cannot be shaken. There's a certain calm and strength and motivation and cleansing that when we put trust in the Almighty, isn't there? Right? That when that's what you're focused on, there's a peace. So do that, right? Do more of that. And give it up to God. He's got you. That's kind of the message. Like, just give it up to Him because He's got you. And one of well, that's really it. Sometimes I try and my mind spins so quick as it's like, well, what do I want to say? But sometimes that's the only message, right? Sometimes that's the whole thing. Just give it up to God because He's got you. So Psalm 16:8 again says, I know the Lord is always with me. I will not be shaken, for He is right beside me. So stay walking with God today. Be kind, be courteous, love on people, keep the faith, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. So reminder, I do this, share a verse every weekday morning, 6:15 a.m. I'd love to have you join me. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, share the video, right? And until we speak next, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. We'll talk to you soon, everybody.